Good morning, children. A very good morning to all of you. Again, a return back after a long time. Today, I'm with a new chapter there. I've done the recitation beforehand, and today I'll go for an explanation of the chapter. Hope you all are going to enjoy it. Before I start, there's always a positive vibe from my side to you all. May your troubles be less and your blessings be more. More and more. That's my wish for all of you. It's an Irish blessing. So, may all your troubles be less in your life. As I move forward, what's our lesson for today? It's Ode to Autumn by John Keats. I've done the recitation beforehand, where I've told you all about our poet John Keats. So today I move forward with the explanation of the chapter. What do we learn from the chapter Ode to Autumn from the famous poem Ode to Autumn by John Keats? Ode to Autumn, known as To Autumn by many, is a poem by English romantic poet John Keats. The work was composed on 19th September 1819 and published in 1820 in a volume of Keats' poetry that included Lamia and the Eve of St. Annes. Ode to Autumn or To Autumn is the final work in a group of poems known as Keats' 1819 Odes. What's the main theme of the poem? The main theme in Ode to Autumn are the power of nature, the passage of time, and the consolation of beauty. The power of nature, the poem expresses reverence and awe for the great changes wrought by nature as autumn brings its riches to the landscape. What's the mood of the poem? To autumn. The prevailing mood of To Autumn is peace and contentment. The year is winding down. The fruit trees and vegetables have matured and ripened. The fields have been harvested. The granaries have been filled. So that's the mood of the poem Ode to Autumn. It's about peace and contentment. What does the title indicate? The title of this ode indicates the poem is dedicated to the season of autumn. And Keats writes a very lofty and moving ode to the season. Keats writes about the beauty of the season and details the beauty of the changing season with rich abundance at almost every turn. The poem later turns melancholic as the season draws to a close and winter. So, this is what the title indicates us to. What is this autumn about? His autumn is early autumn, when all the products of nature have reached a state of perfect maturity. Autumn is personified here and is perceived in a state of activity. In the first stanza, autumn is a friendly conspirator working with the sun to bring fruits to a state of perfect fullness and ripeness. So, what is the central theme about? What do I come up to? The central theme of the poem represents its controlling idea. What's its controlling idea? The season autumn. This idea is crafted and developed throughout the poem and can be identified by assessing the poem's rhythm, its setting, its tone, mood, diction, and occasionally the title too. Autumn has been personified here. Autumn is personified as a woman whose union with the male sun sets the ripening process in motion. Close bosom friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to load and bless with fruit the vines that round the thatched eaves run. So, what do we find here? Here, autumn is personified as a woman. Why is the wind referred to as the winnowing wind here? In centuries past, farmers winnowed their crops by having people beat the harvested plant with, say, large sticks. This action loosens the heavier grain, and then the chaff is light enough that it can be blown away or winnowed in the wind. So here we find that the wind is referred to as the winnowing wind. What would mellow fruitfulness represent? It is also the harvesting season for many crops. And those who give fruits as they mature at this time of year. Therefore, he uses the phrase mellow fruitfulness. Through these phrases, the poet tries to portray the true picture of the season in the reader's mind. That means your mind, to describe its beauty. Who's the bosom friend of autumn? The answer to this question is in the first line of the poem. Autumn. Autumn, the season of mists and mellow fruitfulness, is the bosom friend of the maturing sun. So here what do we find? Autumn and sun have been personified in these lines. They are close bosom friends. What picture of autumn does the poet give us in the second stanza? In the second stanza, the speaker describes the figure of autumn as a female goddess who's often seen sitting on the granary floor, her hair soft lifted by the wind, and often seen sleeping in the fields or watching a cedar press squeezing the juice from the apples. Why does the poet compare a wind to a winnower? The wind god winnows means that nature shifts the weak things from the strong ones. Everything that is weak is tossed away by the powerful wind and gets destroyed. Just like the winnower who separates the grains of wheat from the chaff. Similarly, the wind god separates the weak from the strong. Who's called the bosom friend of the maturing sun? Here again, the season of mists and meadow fruitfulness, that's autumn, is the close bosom friend of the maturing sun. From the title, it's clear that the speaker is talking about autumn. The speaker briefly describes the season and immediately jumps into personification, suggesting that autumn and the sun are old pals. How does the poem conclude? In your conclusion, you can emphasize crucial ideas, raise questions about the poem, or connect the poem to other literary works or experiences too. This is where you can offer your interpretation of the poem, which by now should be convincing to your reader, since you have presented your presentation to all of us. So once you become the reader, your presentation, your convincing answers should be there for all of us. So we come up to a conclusion here. What do we find? To autumn expresses the essence of the season, but it draws no lesson, no over comparison with human life. Keats' strength, his ability to take the beauty of the present moment, is so completely into his heart that it becomes an eternal possession. For him, the poetry of the earth is never dead. It's always alive, time after time. Keats' sense of the wholeness of life is nowhere communicated so richly or with such concentration as in this ode. That's Ode to Autumn. Thank you, children. Thank you a lot.